home, get some relaxing done. But yeah.
Well, you definitely look relaxed. That looks like a comfy ass chair.
Yeah, this is my it's my theater room.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got you can see the projector up there. That's where it comes in. It's the closet with all the stuff in it. So this is my hideaway at home.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Of course, probably mostly horror movies that get shown in there.
Yeah, it's predominantly, although we do movie night with the kids every week. So
Nice.
we each between my wife and I and my two kids, we each pick a movie, and we've been showing like older stuff like Goonies and even Jaws and stuff, but they pick other things. So yeah, we watch a lot of different things in here.
Nice. That's good. That's good. At least they are. You're not getting stuck with like Frozen every other week. So
No, it's funny. They saw Frozen a few years ago when it came out when they were younger, and they liked it initially, but they hated it right after, so they never wanted to see it.
right.
So we never had to watch it again. But I didn't mind it. I thought it was pretty good. But
Yeah, Frozen was relatively decent. Like
yeah,
it was probably one of the more recent successful Disney movies.
yeah,
I reckon,
exactly.
because it just grossed millions and millions.
Oh my God, it's crazy. I couldn't go anywhere without hearing that song. But
Oh, I know.
I love all the Pixar stuff. I think all that stuff's great. We actually like watched like Peter Rabbit not too long ago. That was a great movie.
Nice.
So
The
you
Ewan
know,
McGregor one.
it up, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the Hugh McGregor one. Yeah,
A fellow countryman.
yeah, exactly.
I'm just kind of letting people come in the chat. A friend Don here, he loves everyone loves Fright Rags. It's just a staple in this community. So
Thanks, man.
we're gonna get a lot of people coming in and seeing how much they love Fright Rags.
Awesome.
But yeah, we'll get started. But yeah, join tonight on Hellhounds of Horror. I think I referred to you as the captain of the ship, the captain of the Fright Rag ship, Mr. Ben Scrivens himself. So thank you very much for joining me this evening, Ben.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much. First thing I want to point out, I don't know if you already know this. I don't know if you follow hockey, but you have the same name.
You know, it's funny you say that. I don't follow hockey. I know people that do, and it was brought up to me a few times. And when he played for the for Toronto Maple Leafs at one point, or did he play for the Canadians? He played for the Canadians, right?
Yes,
Montreal.
I think so.
Montreal. Well, where we live very close to the Canadian border, so we go up to Canada quite often. It's like an hour away. But when I cross the border once, you know, you have to give them your passport, your ID, and they look and they're looking at me like, what? And I'm like, I'm not the hockey player, but you know.
Whereabouts is it you are? Because I actually live in Canada myself. I'm
Nice.
from Scotland, but I live in Canada.
Where in Canada are you?
I'm about an hour away from Toronto.
Okay. Our north, our south, we're southwest.
Southwest.
What area?
Hmm?
Like Hamilton or?
I used to live in Hamilton. It's a place called Kitchener.
Okay.
It's about 45 minutes from Hamilton,
Okay.
I'd say.
We're in Rochester, New York. So
Right, cool.
we're an hour east of Buffalo.
Nice.
So we go right through Buffalo, go across one of the bridges, and then there's Niagara Falls, there's Toronto. We usually get up to Toronto once a year.
Nice.
We like to be up in that area, so we go by Hamilton and all those places a lot. So not really through them, although like so many of my favorite friends and artists are up there, like Gary Pullen and Matt Tobin.
Just about to see Gary Pullen.
Edmiston, yeah. So you know, I've actually never been able to visit. They've come down here to visit me, but I've never been through there to visit them. Although I've been like to Rue Morgue at Toronto. I know everyone there, and I've been there a couple times. So
yeah, those guys are awesome.
Oh yeah,
I went to a flea market at the Rue Morgue.
That's great.
The spooky flea market was called.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It was cool. And funnily enough, I found this out when I got to Texas, but when I went to TFW in May, turns out I got the same flight as Gary Pullen.
That's awesome.
And I didn't even realize until I got off the flight. And I'm like, shit, that's the guy.
That's great.
That's the guy.
Did you meet him?
I didn't know. I didn't get a chance to. It was by the time I realized he went one way, I went another, and I was like, oh damn it. Because but his Mondo prints, I think that year with the Chucky, the Child's Play ones.
Oh yeah, I love those.
They were fantastic.
Yeah, He does great work.
He does. He does. Speaking of great work, everyone, like I said, loves Fright Rags. When we announced that you were going to be on the show, we had a lot of people. They reached out and they were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you got Benjamin Scrivens. He's an idol of mine." How does it feel for people to reach out and say that you're an idol, or that
I mean, it's weird because like it's so it's I mean, for number one, I appreciate anyone to even say that because it's flattering and incredibly humbling to me because I don't clearly I don't think of myself as something like that, you know. But I do appreciate it and it's amazing. And if I've had any, I guess if me or any of our work has had any impact like that on people, then it's just amazingly flattering and it's almost like there's no words to describe it really.
Sure. Man.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. I mean, I'll tell you one thing, it doesn't get old seeing people in our t-shirts, you know. It's
for sure.
Again, it's a very humbling thing, you know. It's a very like wow, like especially at conventions when people are wearing our shirts and they're going to a place where they're going to be with other horror fans. And they're, you know, it's almost like getting dressed for church, right? Like people wear their normal outfits every day to day, which I mean, most of us where we can wear our shirts and normal day stuff.
Yeah.
But when you go to a horror convention, like you're almost like you gotta like pick and choose what you're gonna wear. It's almost like a little bit more of a special type. Oh, you know, I've got 100 horror shirts, but what am I gonna wear for 3 days?
Exactly.
And if they pick ours, you know, to wear that day, it really, again, it's not lost on me. I don't go, oh, there's one of our shirts, one of our shirts. I'm like, sweet, sweet, sweet. Like it's just, I don't know how else to say it other than it doesn't get, it's so much fun. It doesn't get old seeing that. Like I don't think the day that I sit there and go, it's just one of our shirts, then get me out of here because seriously, like it really, we always try to remember, you know, because listen, we love what we do. And it's an amazing opportunity to be able to, I mean, make horror shirts for a living. I mean,
yeah,
hell, like I never thought this could be a job. So to be able to do what we do is awesome. But it's stressful, and there are days and weeks and sometimes months when things are going wrong, and you know, a lot of people just don't know what happens behind the scenes to make it work. And we're a small team, and you know, there are days, even like today, where it was just like, oh, like, and just done, like I'm shot, you know, my brain is just I'm done. But you know, my worst day doing this would never in a million years do I ever think that this is like it's still better than the best day at somewhere else where I wasn't happy, you know.
True. Yeah.
And so I guess my point is we never still don't take it for granted, even though it might be stressful and hard. There's always that underlying like, yeah, but look at the shit we get to do. You know what I mean? Like there's always that. So it's never taken for granted.
Oh, of course. And I mean, another facet of that would be the movies that you get to make the shirts for.
Yeah.
Like it's probably like every single project must feel like a passion project.
Yeah.
Some of the most iconic movies all have Fright Rag shirts. I'm curious, genuinely curious. The name Fright Rags, was that a first choice, or was there other choices for Fright Rags? I'm genuinely curious.
It's literally, this is how it went down. Like, and it feels so. It's funny because quick sidebar. Like I remember hearing something from Dave Grohl, and he was like, you know, I never wanted the band name to be Foo Fighters. I just needed something to sort of stuck. And now, you know, you think about it, like whether or not you're a fan, it's like, but that's a perfect name. Like it could never be anything else other than Foo Fighters. You know.
Agreed.
So back when I was doing this, when I first started, you know, I literally, once I decided I want to do t-shirts and horror movies, that was kind of like, all right, I'm going to do this. What's a name? And I'm like, literally it was like, well, what are like, I had this like thesaurus that I had since I was a kid, and it was like ratty all up. And I used to have it when I used to come up with comic book superhero names. I'm like,
right.
What's a synonym for dark? Ooh, shadow. And like, what's a synonym for this? And I would like write all these words. So I was like, what's a synonym for t-shirts and cotton and this and that? And what's scary? And I'm like drawing lines to things. And it's ridiculous. And I was lying in bed next to my wife, and I was like, what about Fright Rags? Like, that's kind of cool. And like, yeah, maybe that'll work. And I'm like, I'm just gonna run with it. I need to get a domain name. Let's just get this thing up. And it's stuck. And it's weird. It's weird. Well, first of all, Gary Pullen did the logo.
Oh, I did not
Yeah.
know that.
So that's a little tidbit. So basically, I had started out, I was a graphic designer and I did the logo, but it wasn't, it was really just using a typeface and working with it a little bit. I didn't do much with it. And it was lowercase for years. And then I put it to uppercase and a different typeface. But I didn't do enough with it. It was just, it was a logo, but it was really just some stupid typeface. And then it was like around 2008, and Gary was a good friend of mine, and he'd already done work for us, and I'd known him since really the beginning. He was a huge inspiration on me too. And I was trying to draw some things, and like, I want this to look like a Gary Pullen type of thing. And I was like, oh, why don't I get Gary Pullen?
Yeah.
So I had him design it for me in 2008, and it's stuck ever since. And the coolest thing is when people want to wear like our hats or our t-shirts with that logo on it, because to me the name and the logo was always like the side thing. It was about our work and the t-shirts, and it was the Halloween, it was Pieces, it was Evil Dead or whatever. It wasn't, it was, yes, it was under the Fright Rags name and brand, but I never thought of the brand as the product, I guess.
Right.
Sense.
Yeah.
Other companies have that, like Johnny Cupcakes or Benny Gold, or the brands are the product, and that's great. And I was always envious of those people, because I thought, man, those guys have like a brand product name, But then we kind of became that in a weird way. Not that we pushed that a lot, but still, when I saw someone wearing our Fright Rags hat once. I forgot where it was. I was like, holy shit, we didn't make that many of those. If you're wearing that hat, like, that's, whoa. That's pretty cool. So anyway, that's where it came from. Long story short.
That's fucking brilliant. And the best thing about like making a name for something, is just doing exactly that. Just finding the origins of words and like piecing different words together. Like for us, for example, our show used to be called Hot Cheetos and Blood.
Oh, nice.
And then we decided to change the name. We thought, if we're going to take it seriously, we can't use Hot Cheetos because that's already like owned by someone, most likely.
Yeah.
So we were like brainstorming all these like different names, and then one guy's like, shit, what about like Hellhounds of Horror? And we're like, that's an interesting thought. So then I think it was me that was just like, I cannot stop thinking about this name. We have to change our name to that.
Yeah.
And it just went from there. And it's just the out of nowhere, because that seems to happen when you're just looking for something. I need a name now out of necessity. Yeah. That's when the creative process isn't really as vibrant. Then when it's like, okay, I'll just give up on that, and then it just comes naturally. It's the best feeling ever. So,
oh my god, we had a sister site for a couple of years called Chopping Mall, and we had done these print on demand shirts, and they're all DTG. It was a different process of printing, but it was all print on demand. You could pick your it was all poster covers. You could pick your poster cover and your color shirt. We did it on Fright Rags for a while, and then we had to separate it because the process is so different, and it was just running up. So we got a site. They did everything. The fulfillment company did everything for us. They printed it and they shipped them, and we just hosted the site. So it was under the Fright Rags brand name, but it was a separate thing. Well, for probably over a year, I was coming up with names, and I was like, just hundreds of names, literally hundreds of names. And I'm sitting there in our shipping manager's like office. I'm just literally sitting there. We weren't talking about it, and I looked over, and he had a sticker of Chopping Mall on his wall, and I went, "Fuck Chopping Mall!" Like, boom, done. Like, we weren't referencing the movie, but I mean, Chopping Mall. You're going here to shop. Like, hello, like, it didn't last very long, the site, but at least it was a cool name when we put it up. I think I still own the domain name, but I don't remember.
That's cool. And if they ever decide to remake Chopping Mall, they're gonna come running. Yeah,
that's true. That's gonna be my retirement plan now.
Oh yeah.
People who remake Chopping Mall are gonna pay me millions of dollars for the site, and then I'm done. I'm out. I'll be on the beach.
It's probably gonna be a long time off if they're ever gonna remake Chopping Mall.
Yeah, I know. I hope they don't. Like, I like the original too much, but again, whatever. They remake everything. So.
Oh yeah. Speaking of remakes, just while we're on the topic, have you seen the images of the new Chucky and the new Child's Play? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's weird. Like people tend to, and rightfully so, get really heated about certain things, remaking or sequels and stuff. And I get it. Like I'm a fan too, but I'm also a type of fan where I'm just like, what are you gonna do? Like, I will say one thing. I really appreciate what Don Mancini's been doing with the Chucky series. Um, I liked Curse, and then Cult came along, and I was like, wow, like it just went so bonkers that I love sort of just it's almost off the rails, batshit crazy, but it works.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate it because why not? It's a freaking doll. Like let's just have some fun. So I guess the one thing I would say is that I feel like this is bad timing because I feel like if he hadn't done those two movies, I'd be like, well, okay, remake it or whatever. But it almost seems a little like, oh, but he's off. You're doing Chucky already. We don't need another Chucky. And it's just because MGM has the name
Mhm.
and they're able to remake it now. I guess it's the same people who did it. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I did see a couple pictures and I was like, that's weird. It's almost like getting someone other than Robert Englund to play Freddy at this point. He's so synonymous. Brad Dourif, the voice, and that face. Like even people were complaining about the Cult and the Curse faces, although I thought those were okay too. I mean, they weren't the best, but they weren't the worst either. We all want to see that 88, 89 like doll, or Child's Play 2 even from what
I was going to say the Child's Play 2, the early Kevin Yeager stuff was just
yeah, exactly.
unbelievable.
Like people want to see that, and I get it. I want to see that too. I'm intrigued. I'll probably give it a shot. I feel more bad, I guess, for Don Mancini because I feel like it's almost like, hey, what are you doing? But I don't
Yeah.
know. We'll see what happens with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna happen regardless. I mean,
Yeah,
people.
that's what I'm saying. It's gonna happen anyway, right?
Yeah. I think he's making a TV show as well.
Oh yeah, Don Mancini is right.
Yeah, he's making a Child's Play or a Chucky TV show. Because we had Christina Lee on last week,
Oh sweet.
and she was she 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 doesn't have very nice words to say about the people who are remaking Chucky. It's not even the fact that they're remaking Chucky, like you said, is what it is, but it's while Don Mancini's still working on his stuff.
Yeah.
So that's where her thoughts were on it, and I mean I completely agree. Brad Dourif not being Chucky is like Robert Englund not being Freddy, and we all know how that turned out.
Exactly. Like they're not doing any other Nightmare films. I can tell you that right now.
Exactly. And then also, what's his name? Robert Englund is coming back to play Freddy for the Goldberg's Halloween special.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's a great time to be a horror fan like right now. It really is.
It really is. Like I am just overwhelmed with all the cool stuff coming out and movies and just it's blowing my mind. And like my 10-year-old self is just freaking out right now.
Oh, I bet. And it must be incredible that the fact that Fright Rags has the license for the new Halloween 2018.
Yeah.
And also that you're coming out with was it the month of Myers? It's called.
Yeah, every week.
Yeah, every week's going to be a T-shirt from the series.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell people about that? Like, where did the concept come from? Is this related to the new Halloween, or was this just an idea that you wanted?
Well, it's sort of just all started coming together. We start planning our releases way early, and the 2018 license came up earlier this year. Was I think around February. We've been talking about it. I think as early as probably this time last year, maybe a little bit later, but. Actually, it was because we were in a holding pattern for a while, like months and months and months and months of we're like waiting for it because they were still in development. So all this stuff was going on. They weren't signing any contracts until they were finally actually getting somewhere with the film.
Right.
So we were waiting and waiting, and finally, like, all right. So that happened around the beginning of this year. Now we already have Halloween 3, in 2, and we already have Halloween 1, which we knew 40th anniversary this year. We're gonna go nuts for it.
Oh yeah.
We're like, okay, and then it's like, well, with 2018, the new film, we also got part 6. So I'm like, okay, and then we just got 4 and 5, primarily because 4 is the 30th anniversary this year and 5 is next year. So I'm like, okay, how are we going to do this? Because we usually like to stagger our releases and we like to do a lot of stuff in September. But I'm like, shit. Like, how are we going to do this to make sense to people? Like, I like things to be cohesive. I just don't like throwing things out there. So I thought, what if, and I was like counting them up. I'm like, all right, we don't want to do a ton with 6 this year or 5 because 5's the 30th next year. We're going to do more with 6. We got to kind of hit 4. 3, we got a couple things planned, and 2, we could do a couple things. So I'm like putting it all together, and I'm like, wait a minute, how many weeks we have? One every week. If we did this month of Myers, and if we put the new movie first, people will get it in time for the movie to come out. We don't want to put it out the day before the movie comes out.
For sure.
So I'm like, we start with the new, then we go original, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom. Like, to me, that seems it seemed like you could lock it into people's minds, and you do a little calendar, and it kind of it helps cement it in their minds. Like, nope, we got this coming, this coming, this coming. But yeah, the 2018, man, that was a thrill to finally get that, and to finally be like, oh my god. And then, you know, it was crazy. This was nuts. We got the license in like February, March, and they gave us the script and the first pictures of the mask.
Oh shit.
And it was like, what? Like, they, you know, we had to sign non-disclosure agreement.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Or anything. Everything's watermarked and all that stuff. Like, but they just like, here you go. And I was like, like, I called everybody into my office and like, you ready? And I like clicked and the file opened up and it was just pictures of the mask inside and back and the whole costume and everything. And I was like, I'm like, oh my god, we're looking at it. Like, and because we're all, I mean, that's my movie, right? Like, this isn't like just some rando film. This is freaking Halloween, you know?
Yeah.
And then I read the script twice. So I was like reading it like crazy. But I am so excited for this film.
Oh my god, me too. After the last trailer, I'm getting real big like Halloween 2 vibes from it.
Oh my god, when he's just walking and I'm getting killed thinking about it. Yeah.
When I saw the very first trailer, I genuinely got chills.
Oh yeah.
And then I was just like, okay, this is actually happening now.
Yeah. Dude, I cried. I legit cried. I'm not even kidding you. It was like, I just started tearing up. I couldn't help it.
That's amazing. That's brilliant.
You know, it's so funny because personally, I've been a proponent of this film since they announced it. Like, you know, you always get people, oh, they're doing what? You know, I'm like, listen, I feel like this could be great. And you never know. I mean, even with it was like, is this going to be okay? And then you saw the first picture and like, is this going to be all right? And I'm like, yes. No, I have a good feeling about this one. And then and then freaking Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. And I was like, oh my God. John Carpenter's doing the score. Oh my God. Nick Castle, it's just like, I can't, this is too much for my brain to handle. And then, like, you know, like I said, I read the script, which is great. But that's still, even with the script, you don't know how something's going to look on screen. You never know.
Sure. Yeah.
So as much as that was fun and great to see, you just don't know. And then you see the trailer, and I'm like, oh my God, this is it. This is it. Like, they did it. They did it. And I'm really glad the marketing for it kicked up, because I was worried. You know, I was just worried that, not that they wouldn't market it. Blumhouse is very good at what they do, but it had such great marketing behind it. And I feel like there's been other movies recently that have been, like, I don't know if The Predator would have done any better with better marketing, but I don't feel like that movie was pushed like they could have. Whereas I feel Halloween is like everywhere. Yes. You know, like, I'm starting to see it now. It's starting to really be, I mean, Entertainment Weekly with Jamie Lee Curtis, and I'm like, damn, like, this has got some potential to really blow some box office, you know, numbers.
My thoughts on it is, I think it's going to be up there, more successful than 2017's it.
Ooh.
I feel like it's got the potential to do that.
All like first weekend or all around, like
both.
Wow.
I reckon. I think a lot of people really want to see this movie. It got huge buzz after the Toronto International Film Festival.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. The marketing for it's just everywhere right now.
And Jamie Lee's on like shows and things promoting it. So I mean, she's a pretty big draw. That I don't know. It could be because it really crushed some box office.
All right.
You know.
Yeah.
I think regardless, the movie's gonna do fantastic. I don't
Agreed,
I don't
yeah.
have any worries of that making its money in the first hour. You know, I'm sure that's gonna do really well. The only thing that worries me, and this is premature, I know, but it worries me come sequel time. Like it, we knew there was gonna be a sequel no matter what.
That's true. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is sort of like, are they gonna taste that and be like, you got to do another one? Is Jamie Lee contractually obliged, like she was for part 2? Is this like what, like, or you know, or part 8 or whatever? You know, it's like, I'm worried. I'm worried. I'm worried. But
it's a valid worry. It's a valid worry. Because I mean, it's been 40 years since the first one, so who knows? I mean, I'm a huge Halloween fan myself as well, so I completely get where you're coming from. It was the first horror movie I ever watched. The first scary experience I ever received was when Michael Myers. It was when Laurie's on the phone and she looks out the window, and then the sheets are going and Michael's standing there. I shit my pants, turned the TV off, and I didn't go back to it for like a week.
How old were you?
Stop thinking about it. Must have been about 8 or 9.
Nice.
So that was probably about like 20 years ago. So this was way after the movie came out, and it was the first one I'd ever watched. Watched on VHS. Put it on and got to that part. I was like, nope.
That's awesome. I mean, that was my first movie experience as well. My first horror movie experience. But I was 4, and I watched it the very first time it was ever on TV on it actually ended up being October 30th, 1981.
Oh shit.
Friday night movies, and we were at a friend's house and I watched it, and I wasn't supposed to be. My mom just was like, go watch TV. I literally plopped down right in front of the TV and watched all 2 hours at 4 years old.
Were you about this close?
Pretty much. But the funny thing is, Heather, our shipping manager, she shared a file with me the other day that she got, and she put it in our Dropbox. She's like, it's a really big file. I'm like, okay. And she sent me a link to it. It was that actual broadcast from that night with commercials, everything.
Oh, shit.
It was amazing. I watched all of it with commercials, the edits, they cut out parts, they added certain parts. It was awesome.
Oh, shit. That's fucking cool, man.
But it's cool that you had that experience 20 years ago on VHS. Like, basic experience, although you were able to stop the movie and restart it. Like
that's very true, yeah.
But that's pretty cool. That's cool that even in whatever when that was, 1998 or 99 or whatever, you still were able to have that sort of unique childhood experience. And I think that's what a lot of us base our love on horror films from those experiences. That 4-year-old, that 9-year-old, that, you know, my son's 9, he wants to watch all of these movies. You know, my daughter's 11, she really couldn't care less, but my son's like, can I watch this? Can I watch this? And I'm like, I'll let him watch some things, but my wife's the one that's like, he's not watching that. I'm like, you know, how else is he going to become a lifelong fan if he's not scarred for life now? We got to scar him now.
That's the point. That's the point in horror movies, is to scar you so that you grow up appreciating it.
Exactly.
That's what we all did.
Yeah.
Every single person that's watching this right now, that's the exact experience they went through at some point. May not have been with Halloween, but it was with something.
Yep. Could have been a babysitter, or they snuck downstairs and they were 5 or 10 or whatever. But everyone's got that story, you know, and it's cemented in our brains like it was yesterday. And then I think we just spent the rest of our life chasing that dragon. Like, we just totally like want that experience again. I mean, I had several of them as a kid, you know, watching certain movies, getting scared and doing this, and I love tons of other movies. I can't say no other movies had that impact on me, because I'm looking at around here. Like, I see E.T. I have on the wall. Like, I have a life-size E.T. over here. Like, that movie did the same thing actually for me that is Halloween did. But I think horror movies, you know, when they get you to, like, they're getting you to your core, you know, that's scare center inside you that's going, oh my God, that whatever it is, you know, you just want more of it, you know. Whereas obviously other movies it's like a fantasy and stuff. But and of course Star Wars has their fans and other things, so it's not just horror. But there's definitely I can see that psychological sort of reasoning for why horror kind of makes people major fans. Like there's not like comedy conventions, you know, or drama conventions. There are horror conventions or pop culture conventions for a reason.
That's a great way of thinking of it. Yeah, the only sort of comedy festival or conventions you would get are like stand-up comedies, stand-up comedians like going and actually doing a show, but you'll never get like that experience of going in and just a room filled with like all these posters and T-shirts and like and all these like huge stars from your childhood who you're now going to meet to get to sign this like collectible that you've had potentially since you were a kid, and it's just it all comes full circle, and that's surreal. That's the greatest part about it as well.
It's completely surreal,
for sure. And you did the short with PJ Souls.
Yeah.
How was that? I mean, PJ, from what I've not met her, but from what I've heard, she's the nicest person that you'll ever meet.
She's a sweetheart, and I've known her like off and on for several years now. You know, I've met her a few times, but it was always one of those things where we've talked, but you never know if like she'll always give me a hug when I see her, but you'll never know if she remember me or is this like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So last year was really the first time I got to really hang out with her like one-on-one for a great length of time. And she is gotta be one of my favorite people ever. And, you know, she was so nice because we were having her come out for this event to show Halloween.
Yep.
And again, when you do that with somebody, you know, they don't know what they're getting into. They don't know if there's going to be 3 people there or 300 people there. So there's this kind of like, I'm just going out for the weekend. And of course they get paid, but it's like, I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And so we're of course on our end promoting it and everything. And then we had this little film that we were doing. Like, ooh, what if she could be in it? And how do we, you know, is she gonna be okay with this? And she was very sweet. And she's like, yeah, I'll do it. And so she got in, you know, Friday night and we hung out. Her and her boyfriend were there and me, and we hung out just talking and eating. It was just great. And then we picked her up for the movie. And she was so impressed by our setup. And it was, you know, my friend Eric and Roy from the little theater, where we show the films at, they were the one doing the filming, and then their friends helping with the sound and stuff. But she was like, oh, I thought you were going to like film on some iPhone or something, you know? And we're like, no, I'm not that, you know, it's somewhat professional, you know? And of course I dressed up as Michael Myers. That was my outfit.
That's right.
And it was just, I have to say, it was surreal standing there in like a Michael Myers outfit across from PJ Souls and, you know, acting with her. You know, I always preface this by knowing I realize it's a fan film and I'm not going on some big screen, but like, holy shit, I was Michael Myers in a little movie with PJ Souls. That's pretty cool. Like, there was still that kid in me looking through that mask going, PJ Souls, that's Linda. Like, holy shit. Obviously she's a total amazingly professional. And then we did some bumpers for our for Saturday Night Rewind where I actually had the sheet on. And so we did some like, hey, you're watching Saturday Night Rewind. I still haven't gotten my beer. And I'm like, I give her beer or whatever. Like, it's funny. But honestly, that whole weekend, like, you know, that day she was signing the posters and we just hung out all day. And then she hung out with us at night. And the next day I took them around town, and she was so great. Like, we had to go to, I was leaving that day. I had to go to Austin for something. So we went to the airport together and we were in separate terminals, and she's texting me from the other terminal going, you know, we just had such a great time. And then there was a thunderstorm that came in, and she goes, what's happening? I'm like, yeah, it's pretty crazy. She goes, well, if we get delayed, we can go have some more good food. And like, she was just so awesome. And then even a couple weeks later, she actually texted me. It was like some random Sunday morning. She was like, oh, by the way, I sent your movie to John Carpenter and Rob Zombie and they loved it. And I was just like, oh my God, what? Like, so she's amazing. I'm going to see her at the show next month. And we were just texting back and forth the other day, talking about it and stuff. Just, she's the best. And she literally is the best. What you see is what you get with her. It's amazing.
Oh, that just gave me chills. I don't know about you, but I can't even imagine just the work you've put into something, and then knowing that someone who's probably a huge idol and huge part of who you are today is sitting watching it, and they're like, yeah, that's really good, man.
Like, I can say in some ways John Carpenter saw me as Michael Myers. Like what? Like again, it's that weird, trippy, like surreal. Like, oh my god, that's so weird. Like the world just got smaller, you know?
I know. That's amazing. Oh, I just got like chills. That's an awesome fucking story, man. And then talking about the convention that's happening, it's a couple of weeks, right? The H40.
Was it the 13th and 14th?
Yes, that's right. You guys have a stall there, I presume?
Yeah, we've got a big booth, 12 by 12 booth. We're bringing a lot of stuff with us. Pretty much most of our designs from 1, 2, 3, some from 4 and 5. And then we didn't have the 6 stuff ready.
Yeah, I saw that recently.
The new Halloween. And we've got a couple things that we're doing there, which hopefully will be fun. We've got these backdrops. I actually haven't told anybody about this. It was a surprise, but there's these big backdrops we made that look like the porch of the Myers house. And then we had cut out cardboard standees that you can take your picture with Michael.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was just something fun that we thought of it, not the last minute, but we were trying to think of our booth design. I'm like, we had to like cover up our racks of shirts because they were going to be facing outward. I'm like, what if we put something on this side and then just spiraled into this idea and I was like, screw it, let's do it. So
let's just do it.
It'll be fun.
We had Brad Laurie a few weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
He's going to be going to H40.
Yeah.
He's super excited. I showed him the trailer, I think maybe last week.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, like that's amazing. And he's just like I think he's in
Part 8.
Like Alberta.
Oh, he's in Alberta.
Yeah, I think he's in like Alberta or like Calgary area, just near Calgary.
Okay.
And he's just like this big, vibrant, like typical Canadian, just big, loud. It was fucking brilliant. And he's going to be going there as well. And he was just a great laugh. So anyone, if you're going to meet anyone, I'd recommend going to meet Brad Laurie.
I kind of, well, I don't know if I actually met him well, I was like with him at a bar my first show. Like we were sitting near each other, and I think I talked to him for a moment, but I don't think I actually got to like maybe shake his hand or whatever. But
right.
It's funny because I was looking at the guests, and the guests are great. And I was at the 35th anniversary one 5 years ago, and that was a great show. But what's nice, like we're bringing the whole crew out, and most of the people in our office, I think, save for one, have never been to California, so they've never seen any of the locations, whatever. And a lot of them haven't met a lot of these people,
right?
You know, shows, but they haven't gotten a chance to meet most of these people.
Sure.
And I'm very fortunate and lucky enough with the 35th anniversary and all these other shows that I've gotten to meet a lot of the people that I've wanted to meet over the years, especially for Halloween. Like I've gotten to have Mike Carpenter and Tommy Lee Wallace and Nick Castle and stuff. So I'm happy about that because I can kind of focus a little bit on the show and the people and stuff. And I think if I hadn't met those people yet and I was going and all this was happening, I wouldn't be able to function. I think I'd be comatose. So at least like I got to go in all the set locations and stuff last time, and I've been out there another time or two where I've gone back to the Myers house a few times. It's always amazing every time I go, but I'm sort of inoculated by it a little bit, so I can appreciate it more because I'm not just completely like. I mean, the first time I saw it, I cried. I mean, it was flat out, no joke.
I'm not surprised.
But my point is, at least now everybody else can have that level of like enjoying it, and I can be like, all right, cool. I can still like manage myself, you know. Now, if Jamie Lee Curtis shows up, I will freak my shit, and I will lose all functions. So that I will guarantee will happen if she comes.
It's rumored that she's supposed to go.
I've heard so many different tall tales or stories or whatever. I don't even know what to believe anymore. I have a feeling that if she's there, she's just going to show up like walking like right by me. And I'll be like, what the? And then it'll be gone. And I'll be like, that was Jamie Lee Curtis. And now I can't meet her, you know?
Yeah, that's very true. And I think the huge locations or the locations for the movie are going to be huge tourist spots for that whole weekend. Because everyone's going to want to go and see it. Because there might be a lot of people like you've mentioned who've never been to see the filming locations before. So there's probably going to be a lot of people there. I wouldn't want that to be my house.
Oh, I know. Like, it's funny, when we were there last time, I got to see it by myself first. I was long story short, we got into LA and I couldn't fall asleep. Like, we had been up all day and I was just wired, and time change and things. So I fell asleep for a little bit and I got up and I was with two other people from my office, and it was like 3 a.m. and I was like, I can't go back to sleep. But I get on my phone, I'm like, where's the Myers house from here? No, it's like 3.5 miles away. Fuck it. I just put my phone in my pocket and walked outside and started walking. So I'm walking down the streets, and then, because it's 3 hours later here on the East Coast,
Yes.
I called my wife. So I'm talking to her. She's eating breakfast, getting the kids ready, and I'm talking to her. And I'm walking, and I'm like, and I just stopped, and she's like, "You okay?" And I'm like, and the Myers house was right there, and I was like, and I just started like sobbing, and she's like, "You gonna be okay?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine." Like, so I'm like, I'll have to call you back. But anyway, I had this like moment because it was like just sunrise and no one was around.
Oh,
And I'm just, and it's an office, so you can't, like, it's private, right? Like, I mean, no one lives there anymore, but it's an office, but no one was there. So I walked up on the stairs, I walked around the side, I did the whole thing. I was like touching it. But we went back later that day with the other people from my office and a few other friends, and people were there at work, and you're not supposed to go up on the stairs. So like, guys up in like Judith Myers' room, like typing on his computer, looking out like
these fucking
these freaking people again, because it's every day. It's people in black shirts hanging out, looking up at a house. But a guy comes out and he goes, "Come on, get up here, let's get a picture of you guys on the steps." And we're like, "Yay!" It was just crazy.
Oh, that's fucking brilliant. I've never been to it either. I've never been to LA, so
I'll tell you, if you ever get a chance, it's a lot of fun. I was out there a year ago for a week, and it was funny. Like, a buddy of mine just walked around the where Laurie Strode's house was. We had some coffee or whatever, just walking around, and like, it's cool because everywhere you go, it's like, oh, they filmed Back to the Future there. Oh, this was filmed there, and you're just like, it's just there, and it's overwhelming.
Yeah. And it's cool that it wasn't just like a set somewhere. It's like these places are iconic. Like it's like the set for the locations for like Hocus Pocus. They're still in Salem.
Yeah.
I think I saw a video recently. I don't know how I stumbled on it, but it was this guy was going to like all the different filming locations, and like he was at the factory where they had Child's Play 2, where they had like the exterior shots, and then like. He went to Salem, and he was like going around, and he's like, this is the house, and then this is the graveyard, and like, holy shit, man, that must be the most overwhelming thing to ever experience.
Oh, totally. Part of my trip when I was out in LA last year was like all these meetings and stuff I was going to, but in between I would try, like, I had to go down to Santa Monica for a meeting, and I was like, ooh, what are filming locations around here? I'm like, oh, some Party Massacres around here. So I found the school where they filmed that. I couldn't get close to it because everything's gated, but I got some pictures from far away. But I was like, oh my God, that's the school. And like the Halloween stuff, because we did the bus tours. Sean Clark does the bus tours, and we did those 5 years ago, which is the best way to see it because you're getting driven around. And Charles Cyphers was on our bus with us, and Tommy Lee Wallace. Like, I'm walking around, like I was walking around with Dick Warlock at the spot in part 2 where he walks by, like, and the kid bumps into him, and like, we're just right there. We get a picture together there. And Charles Cyphers did the what's the matter? You're everyone's entitled to one good scare.
Right. Yeah.
At that spot where he did it in the movie, like on the street, like it was again bonkers. It was like 70 of us in black shirts just walking around the streets of Pasadena and other areas where they filmed it in North Hollywood or wherever, those places are.
Yeah.
And then we all went to the bar in Halloween 3. It was like a Sunday afternoon, and there was like 2 dudes watching football in there, and like literally like all of us just descend into this bar, which looks exactly the same as it did in 1981, 82. And of course I had to order like a whiskey just because, it's what you're going to have to do.
For sure.
But yeah, it was rad, man. It was so cool. So to be able to do all that again is just like, can't believe I'm doing that again 5 years later. This is pretty awesome.
For the 40th anniversary as well.
Yeah, for the anniversary too. It's great.
And I did see recently, actually, when you brought up Halloween 3, I did see that they've announced that you can go to the bar, like they're doing like a night tour. I think it's Sean Clark that's doing it.
We're doing it.
And they're doing a night tour to the bar, and you can have a drink with Tom Atkins, and then get your picture taken with him.
Yeah, and we're doing it. We got tickets for everybody.
Oh shit!
Well, yeah. The cool thing is that not only you get to do that, but because right around the corner is the Church from the Fog, and I didn't get a chance to see that when I was there last. I drove by it, but I didn't get to go near it. And I think they're doing a walking tour of that too. So that'll be pretty cool. So that'll be fun. Like Tom's a great dude anyway, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, he's going to be at a convention here in Canada, Frightmare in the Falls.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, in Niagara Falls. Yep.
Yes, yeah. I think it was the first year they did their own convention. Normally, it was just held in the Niagara Falls Comic Con.
Yep.
So they branched out, and I went last year for the first year, and this year it's just like ramped up. So there's like Tom Atkins, Adrian Barbeau.
Yeah, it looks like a good show.
Tommy Lee Wallace is there. Like a ton of people. So I pre-ordered the Halloween 3 Season of the Witch Scream Factory Steelbook.
Yes.
So I'm going to get that, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get Tom Atkins and Tommy Lee Wallace to.
You have to. Those two guys are super nice, and I had a chance to hang out with Tom because we brought him up for a showing back in 2010. We had him and Brent Decker here all weekend. And Friday night we showed Halloween 3 in the Fog, and then the next night we showed Monster Squad and Night of the Creeps.
Oh man!
And those two guys, like, I got to spend a lot of time with both of them, especially Tom, because Fred had some work to do on Saturday. So Tom and I took him around. I took him up to our beach in like Ontario, and we just had lunch, like sitting there and just talked for hours. Like that dude's really, he's awesome. He's great.
Brilliant.
But yeah, you should definitely meet him and Tommy Lee Wallace.
Definitely, and when I do, I'll definitely tell him that you said hi.
Yeah, for sure. Do that. Yeah, tell him I said hi.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We got a couple of questions in. Someone asked, "Are Warheads your favorite candy?"
So, I mean, we give Warheads out in every.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
They were probably, to be completely honest, they were probably my second favorite sour candy as a kid. My first was actually tearjerker gumballs.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I thought Warheads were more sour, but I thought the tearjerkers were better because they were gum at least, and I was never a huge hard candy kid.
Right.
I once did put 10 tearjerkers in my mouth, and I burned all the taste buds off my tongue, so I don't recommend you ever do that. I couldn't taste for a week and a half, and then at the end of the week and a half, a thin film of just my entire dead taste buds peeled off my tongue. It was like that big. It was disgusting. I thought I was going to have to go to the doctor. It was crazy. But we used to dare each other with stuff like this. So when the idea of doing the free prize packs came up, I thought Warheads would be good, mostly because they were flatter and we could get them in the packages easier.
Right.
But also because they were pretty intense anyway. And I thought this would be kind of fun to just have people do dares or whatever. But yeah, it's kind of become our thing.
This kind of thing, yeah. It's definitely something that's stuck because I feel like everyone's like, I'm gonna like, here's my shirt, yeah, but where's my fucking Warheads?
Somebody wrote a note on their order once, and it said, "Thanks for sending a shirt with my Warhead order." And so I took a bag because we get them by the bags like this big, and I put it in his mailer with his shirt and wrapped it up and sent it to him.
That's fucking brilliant.
Like case or bag or whatever, 150 pieces. It was pretty funny.
Oh man, he must have loved that.
Yeah,
I've never met anyone that loves Warheads that much though.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You can't eat them like all the time. Like they really, even now I'll have one once in a while and I'll be like, woof, okay, that was
a question from Natalie, and she asked, do you ever buy any t-shirts from other companies, or do you just wear the ones that you make?
Oh no, I buy t-shirts from other companies. If I see something I like, I'm gonna buy it. It is hard sometimes because here's the thing. I miss out on some of our own shirts. Like there are times where I know it sounds hilarious. It's weird because like I don't know how to put this. Like I'm so focused on what we do and wanting to put the best stuff out, and we're usually months ahead. And of course, I'm always watching it, the design, how it looks, and then we'll see the shirts when they come in, and it's very much like, oh, it looks great, it's straight, the prints are great, whatever, blah blah blah. And then you just sort of rolling, right? And once in a while, I'll be on a Saturday or something, or sometimes if I'm downstairs and I'm roaming around the warehouse because our warehouse is down below us, I'm like, I'll walk around, I'm like, holy shit, why aren't I wearing that shirt? Like, why don't I have one of those for myself? Like, why didn't I grab one? Or like, I'll be like, oh, I need to go grip the shirt, and then we're out of mediums. I'm like, oh shit, we're out of my size. I can't get it. And I'm like, I don't even know if we're gonna reprint this right away. I'm like, maybe we should because I really want one, you know.
Just reprint one.
Well, we yeah, I wish we could.
Why?
We do save one medium of every single design. We've been doing that for a few years now. So I have, to be honest, like actually right beneath me is a storage area in my basement. It's an insulated lit area, and I have probably, I think I counted 700 shirts all packed away, and they span the last 15 years really. It's not everything, but it's close. It's very close.
There is probably someone out there who has every single.
Dude, there are people that send me pictures of their collections. I'm literally going, whoa, like, are you kidding me? Like over 100 shirts, sometimes 200 shirts, and I'm like, holy shit, like that's amazing. Like it's incredible. I can't believe it.
I mean, it's the greatest compliment for sure.
Oh my God, for sure, absolutely.
Speaking of the shirts, what are some of the franchises or movies of shirts that you've not made but you would love to make them?
So,
is there any particular? Because I mean, there's a lot that have been done. My personal favorite was Nightbreed.
Yeah,
that was my personal favorite.
Love
it.
So, what I would say to this, because there are definitely some movies that I'd be like, oh, I'd love, like, I would love to do a legitimate Silver Bullet shirt because I love that movie so much. We've done a couple in the past, but they were unlicensed years ago, and I'd love to do a legitimate one. And that same thing goes for, we've done actually some really cool Friday the 13th and Freddy related ones years ago. We don't do them anymore because those were unlicensed, and we did them on a very limited basis. And as we got bigger and as we got more licenses and everything we do is licensed now, you know, there wasn't any, I didn't want to do that anymore, even if it was for like 2 or 3 days. You know, a lot of people do that. It's Friday 13th, they'll put out a shirt for 3 days and then get out.
Yeah.
Honestly, the license is hard as hell to get. We've talked to Warner Brothers, I've met them at their offices, we've had meetings, blah, blah, blah. They like what we do. They're not ready to sign new people on. They're trying to restructure some of the licensing thing. It's just going to take a while.
Yeah.
I thought I'm just not going to keep doing this and then get the license. Screw it. For me personally, I'm just decided not to do any more of that stuff unless it's, you know, we did G.I. Jason and What Would Jason Do? Those are parodies. We get kind of lawyers' advice for those things.
For sure.
Out and out Jason shirt, I'm not doing it until it's official. So I'm chomping at the bit to do that and Nightmare and Shining and anything Warner Brothers has because it's very hard to get in with them. But there's definitely some that I can tell you there's some that we haven't done, but we're going to be doing.
Exciting.
So things like Universal Monsters and there's some deals that we're finalizing right now, like things like Darkman or, you know, just like popular things and things that might be a little more obscure.
Right. Yeah.
That we're really like, so I know we're getting, because we're getting the license, but we haven't done anything with them yet. And I'm just like getting ready.
Chomping at the bit.
Absolutely.
Someone actually mentioned there the Jason hopes that one day you guys can get the rights to do a Pumpkinhead shirt.
So we actually did get the rights several years ago, and we had Pumpkinhead out. So we had done it for a little while. We didn't do a ton with Pumpkinhead, and then we kind of let it go. And we're gonna get it back again, but I know Cavity Colors has it now, so I think they're doing something this month. They're coming up that I've heard. So we're not going to do anything with it maybe for a while because I don't think there's any reason to have more Pumpkinhead out there than needs to be.
Yeah.
And we've got other things to focus on. So I would pick that up later. Same with Nightbreed. I'd probably pick that up again later. I feel like we could do more with it. But it depends. You know, sometimes movies you think will do well don't do as good. Yeah. And also, like, what they charge for a license, like you have to listen, we have to make money to stay in business, you know, like
of course.
We have to do something to make it worth. A lot of people are like, why aren't you doing this film? Why aren't you doing this film? Well, number one, we can't get the license because we don't know who owns it, or, you know, or we know who owns it, and they want some stupid amount of money. Like I was just talking to a company the other day, and we were gonna do a deal, and it was like the money they wanted. We were gonna do a bundle deal, so usually you can sometimes bundle a bunch of titles into one.
Right. Yeah.
And you get it for one price. And we were gonna do that, and they said, "Oh no, that has." And I quoted them like a real, I thought a fair but good price for all of them. They're like, "Oh no, it's got to be that per title," and I'm like, "Yeah, no, sorry, like,
Damn.
there's just no way we could make back that kind of money and make it worth it for us."
Yeah.
And it sucks because I'm like, shit, we could have done some good stuff with that, but what are you gonna do? You know?
Exactly. And yeah, you're absolutely right. You guys must get that a lot. Like, oh, I wish you guys did this or did that. Or even if it's a great movie, but it's just extremely obscure. Like
Yeah.
typically, there's only like a handful of people that would really buy that shirt.
Yep.
So I mean, that must be a hard decision to make.
It is, and you know, especially when you're given limitations. So you might get the film, but then you can't use anybody. Like, well, you know, like if the film relies on, like, say, a male or female actor or actress who it's their face, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'll give you a very classic example. This is just to give you a textbook example. We're doing Die Hard. We have the rights.
Nice.
And Fox are great people to work with. I love them. We can't use Bruce Willis. Oh, and we can't use the building.
Jesus.
Okay. Like, no joke. So we're doing this movie that pretty much is a guy in this building. That's the movie. Like,
Yep.
the movie is about the Nakatomi Plaza and John McClane and of course Hans Gruber and those people. But like, it's no one with a mask. It's not a character, you know?
It's a guy with a face.
Literally, it's Bruce Willis and this building that looks exactly like this, you know? So that's going to be a creative challenge. Now, there were certain things we knew going into it. We knew we had to get around the Bruce Willis thing. We can get around likenesses. We've done it before.
Yeah.
The building was one that I did not see coming because Mondo's done the building and other companies have used the building. I don't know how that worked. We actually talked to the building owners and we still couldn't get through. I mean, we talked to them, but they wouldn't let us. So we gotta be creative, you know?
Sure.
So yeah, there's a lot of different factors involved with all that stuff.
Oh, I bet. It sounds like it would be great from the very beginning. Like, oh, yeah, this is a great idea. And then when the roadblocks start to hit, that's when it starts to set in.
It's frustrating, but it also can be fun. Like, we got Jaws, and you can't use Roy Scheider, you can't use Robert Shaw, you can't use Richard Dreyfuss, you can't do this, you can use the shark. And I'm like, shit. But when we came up with the chum bucket design where you're looking through the shark's mouth to Roy Scheider and he's slumming the chum and he's looking away because he's looking away at that point in the movie, you don't get to use his face, but he's looking away anyway. It makes sense. And so sometimes, you know, the divine intervention kind of happens. You're like, it just comes from up above and you're like, oh, we'll just do that. And it works. Brilliant. And you hope you strike lightning as much as you can.
Fantastic. Speaking of Die Hard, like the one scene that sticks out to me is when the elevator door opens and he's wrapped in the Christmas lighting.
Ho ho ho! I've got a gun.
I've got a gun.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, and that's the other thing. So because of limitation, all these other companies that have done it in the past have done all these similar things. So we want to do something like that, but we want to do it in our own way. So it sucks because you're limited now to this scope. And now you've had several other companies work within that scope. So it's kind of already been done before. But so how can you do it in a different way that can maybe is a similar idea, but done in a different vision, you know? True. And that's where we try to be, because I always try to be different from what's out there. You know, I mean, there are times that we'll do like the poster art, and I used to be against it. I used to be against just throwing the poster art on a shirt. Like, no, we don't do that. But then we would try it like Evil Dead. Well, let's see it on a blue shirt because I've never seen it on a blue shirt, and that's the color of the poster. Mm-hmm. And it sold like crazy. And I was like, but it's just the poster art. But we just spent all this time and money on this beautiful art that we commissioned from this amazing artist. They want the poster art. So then you start going, well, shit. we'll put that out too if people want that, but we're still going to do our thing, you know. And you got to kind of listen to what and see just the numbers, what people are buying, what they're not, you know. And again, if I had a crystal ball, like people are like, why didn't you print more larges? Why didn't you do this? Well, if I had a crystal ball, I would. But you know what? You got to make a decision at some point, and you base your decisions on things you did before.
Exactly.
It doesn't always work, you know, and then you try to do your best.
For sure, for sure. And then lastly, we just got someone in there. You guys have a Devil's Rejects, right?
Yeah, we do. We haven't done anything for it yet, though. That's coming.
Right, because yeah, he'd mentioned there you had the House of 1,000 Corpses one with like Dr. Satan and stuff like that. And he'd asked if you'd ever had the Devil's Rejects, and I didn't think you guys had printed a Devil's Rejects shirt, but
we have it. We were going to put out the collection this year, but we were running into some snags with likenesses. Basically, long story short, you know, Lionsgate, understandably so, are very protective of their properties, and so there's a lot of limitations with what they are when we get a property from them. There's a lot of limitations, and I get it, and then we knew that going into it, but we were running into some snags because we were trying to figure out what we could do. Luckily, we were able. Long story short, we were able to circumvent it because we work with Rob directly for House, so I just shot him an email and was like, hey, can we do likenesses for rejects? He's like, yeah, go for it. I'm like, cool. So that was like, so we were able to get by that roadblock, so now we can kind of do what we want, but it had to end up waiting until next year. But
yeah,
you know,
yeah, I mean, obviously not saying what's going to happen, but do you know what you're going to be doing next year? Like what's to come? Because I mean, everyone's going to be focused on the month of Myers.
Yep.
Because it's a huge project. Is there anything that you can like say? Anything?
I mean, so what I did, so basically we try to plan as far ahead as we can.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I got to look at licenses that we have coming up that are expiring that we might renew, or ones that we're letting go, ones that we should do more with, ones that are brand new that we haven't done anything with. And I'm a very visual person, so I want to see it all in front of me. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take index cards and I'll just write a title on the index card and maybe a couple ideas like, oh, we should probably do like 2 shirts, maybe a colored one, maybe a pin. And I'll just write them out, and I'll do that. And I was doing that for a few days. I was writing and writing. It was just like basically brain dumping. And then I put them all together, and I had 70 index cards of all individual releases. And I was like, well, there's only 52 weeks in the year. What are we going to do? So we have a huge cork board in our conference room, and we just have it divided by months, and we just move things around. And so that's how we start. That's really just sort of the beginning of the throwing everything at the wall, literally, and then sort of moving things around. And things always change. I mean, it always changes. Things will get dumped. Things will get added. There'll be an opportunity that comes up. They're like, oh shit, we should do this. But things that we are coming out with, technically this year we're coming out with Pet Sematary, but we're doing something more for the 30th anniversary next year.
Nice.
We've got a bunch of Vestron stuff coming up next year. We got Waxwork, Blood Diner. Oh wow, now I'm blanking. What other Vestron titles are there? We've got a whole list of them. Waxwork, Blood Diner. Lionsgate stuff. We're doing Leprechaun. We're doing High Tension. We're doing My Bloody Valentine 3D.
Very nice.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of stuff. I mean, a lot.
That's really exciting.
Yeah.
We do like a weekly, bi-weekly show where we review movies, right? Mm-hmm. And one of those movies is My Bloody Valentine 3D. So I watched it for the first time like 2 nights ago.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
great film. You know, it's great in 3D, and I love the Tom Atkins stuff. That with the cone of his chin, and I've never seen that in the theaters. That was awesome.
It was interesting.
It's a good one. Like, it's My Bloody Valentine, right? Like, I love the original. It's one of my favorites. I'm a slasher kid, so that's one of my favorites. Seeing the remake, I like the spin on it. I like what they did with it.
Yeah. And the 2 other movies I picked were Valentine with David Boreanaz.
Yeah.
And Alice, Sweet Alice.
Oh, nice. You know, I've never actually seen either one of those.
I've never seen Alice, Sweet Alice, but I did see Valentine when it came out. And I was very, like, it freaked me out, like the mask that they use for it.
Yeah. I know that, yeah. I've seen
Cupid mask.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So creepy, so
Yeah.
creepy. But again, I'm a slasher guy as well. It all stems from Halloween. Anyone's
Exactly.
a slasher fan, it all comes from
I
Halloween.
wanted to see after I saw that movie when I was 4. I'm like, give me a person with a mask and like killing kids and stuff. Like that's all I want to see. Like just that's it was really like I would be in the movie store and look up the movie like, no, no mask, no, like what's this? But I would get the weirdest shit that if it had like a guy with like a machete on the cover and something, I'd be like, yep, that's for me. You know?
Yeah, and again, that's what we all did.
Yeah.
That's one thing I do miss is like the experience of going to like a video store.
Yeah.
It was an experience just that was in itself because you just see all these titles and you'd have the horror section and you would just see all these like VHS titles and you would just scan through every single one and just be like, yeah, I'm going to pick this one. And then it's going to be like, oh yeah, Blood Diner,
Yeah.
for example, just because you'd mentioned it and you're like, yeah, like, oh, what's this? And that's when like the covers were.
Oh, that's what sold you. Those were the advertisements. You know?
I bought Hatchet years and years and years ago. I didn't even know what Hatchet was. I picked up the cover and I was like, bloody axe on the front? The American slasher movie?
And it doesn't disappoint either, you know? It's a great
disappoint.
We put up a video wall in our office. We have it's probably about 20 feet long. I don't know. But it's slat wall. So it's just like the old video stores, and we put up all our VHSs. So they're all just out there. And it's a lot of the ones that I had as a kid or people donated or people from the office brought in. So it's cool to have that as just sort of that inspiration along the side, you know, it's our horror section.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Well, I won't keep you any longer. Thank you again for
no worries, man.
I had the best time just talking.
Yeah, me too.
Just talking Halloween.
Absolutely, man. Fellow Halloween fan.
And then if you're ever passing through, if you ever go to Toronto, man, just like shoot me an email or something.
Cool, man. Yeah, and if you're ever on this side of the border, you know,
definitely
hop on over.
For sure, I'll definitely let you know. But yeah, everyone, thanks for joining tonight. Again, thank you. If you don't already, follow Fright Rags on Instagram. I'll have the website in the description as well, so you can go and check it out. Month of Myers is coming up, so everyone needs to get on that right away because these are probably going to sell fantastically.
Yeah, and we printed a lot more than we usually do, but because of the month and how crazy it is, any reprints will probably be coming after Halloween. Like it's not going to happen right away. So I'm trying to urge people, like, if you want it that bad, please try to get it as early as you can, because I just can't guarantee us throwing stuff up in pre-order and doing stuff like that. But
exactly. So yeah, everyone needs to get on the month of Myers. Right. And yeah, thanks very much for joining me, Ben. I had a great time.
Thanks, man. Me too. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
See ya.
Thanks.